In the southern tip of India, hidden among the lush greenery and the humid breeze of the coastal state of Kerala, stands a temple unlike any other. At first glance, Sri Padmanabhaswamy Temple might seem like just another ancient Hindu sanctuary, an architectural tribute to a timeless faith, carved stone by carved stone through centuries of devotion. But behind its towering gopurams and silent corridors lies a story that defies belief and challenges everything we think we understand about history, wealth, secrecy, and the limits of human boldness. For generations, the temple was regarded as a sacred spiritual landmark, old, revered, and intimately woven into the cultural fabric of Kerala. Locals spoke of its religious power with the kind of quiet certainty that only tradition can carve into the mind. Pilgrims approached it with reverence. Tourists admired its beauty. Scholars studied its inscriptions, but almost no one understood the true scale of what was hidden beneath its stone floors. Not until 2011. That year, in a sequence of events that would forever alter the temple's reputation, the Supreme Court of India ordered that the underground chambers, sealed for centuries, be opened and documented. What happened next stunned not only a nation of over 1 billion people, it stunned the world. Behind the heavy doors and thick walls, the court-appointed team found something so staggering, so incomprehensibly vast in both quantity and historical significance, that for a moment, the line between myth and reality blurred. Room after room revealed mountains of gold coins, bags of diamonds, strings of emeralds, golden statues encrusted with jewels, ceremonial crowns, and artifacts untouched for centuries. The type of treasure that legends exaggerate, but here it was real, undeniable, and measured by the ton. In the days that followed, economists, historians, journalists, and treasure hunters all tried to comprehend what had been discovered. And slowly, a new title began to form, one that the public quickly embraced: the richest temple in the world. But what most people don't know is this: even after the massive discovery made international headlines, not all the chambers were opened. One room, one specific chamber, known simply as Vault B, remained sealed, not by law, not by lack of resources, not by oversight. It remained sealed because it wasn't allowed to be opened, and because, according to the temple's guardians, it should never be opened. But why? Why would a country, after discovering billions, some say trillions, of dollars worth of treasure in just a portion of its hidden vaults, choose to leave one last chamber untouched? Why would the very people who dedicated their lives to protecting the temple insist that this single room must remain closed, guarded, and buried in silence? What exactly is inside Vault B? Is it more treasure, documents, relics, something sacred, something dangerous, or something the world is not prepared to understand? The mystery of Vault B isn't just about wealth. It isn't about gold, or gems, or ancient artifacts. This is a story about faith colliding with curiosity, about tradition confronting modernity, about the unknown resisting the known. For some, Vault B is a doorway to unimaginable riches. For others, it is a doorway to catastrophe. Temple legends claim that the room is protected by ancient chants, mystic seals, and divine forces that punish anyone who dares violate its sanctity. Local priests warn that opening the chamber could bring misfortune, natural disasters, societal chaos, or divine wrath. The claims sound mythical, even fantastical. But within the temple walls, these beliefs are not stories. They are warnings. And in a world that has increasingly replaced superstition with science, one fact persists. Despite pressure from governments, historians, and global treasure seekers, Vault B remains firmly, absolutely, unshakably closed. This documentary explores that mystery. We journey deep into the heart of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, through its history, its wealth, its legends, and its controversies, to understand why, in the 21st century, one door remains sealed, while the entire world watches in fascination. We will uncover the treasures that were revealed in 2011 and the global shockwaves they sent. We will delve into the sacred traditions that demand Vault B remain untouched. We will investigate the myths and the warnings whispered through generations. And we will examine the theories, some logical, others wild, that attempt to explain what could be hidden behind that final, forbidden door. Because at the center of this ancient structure lies a paradox, a temple that sits on unimaginable wealth, yet chooses secrecy over discovery, a nation striving for modernity, yet held back by ancient fear. A mystery so profound that even today, despite global interest, advanced technology, and legal authority, no one has dared to break the last seal. So ask yourself, if knowledge is power, why is the world being kept away from whatever lies inside Vault B? If treasure brings value, why does this treasure remain locked away? If history belongs to all of humanity, why is this chapter hidden? Or is the truth something else entirely? Something beyond gold, beyond tradition, beyond what the world is ready to confront. Tonight we turn our focus to a temple older than many civilizations, wealthier than entire nations, and more mysterious than any archaeological site on Earth. We begin a journey into the unknown, into secrets preserved for centuries, sealed by rulers, priests, and perhaps forces beyond human understanding. Welcome to the enigmatic world of Sri Padmanabhaswamy Temple. Welcome to the story of its forbidden chamber. Welcome to the mystery of Vault B. When the sealed chambers of Padmanabhaswamy Temple were finally unlocked in 2011, the world held its breath. Not merely for the revelation of antiquity, but for the astonishing magnitude of the treasures that lay hidden beneath centuries of stone, dust, and devotion. What was uncovered in those initial vaults, vaults A, C, D, E, and F, was nothing short of extraordinary, a fortune so immense it defies simple description, and yet it was only the prelude to the legend of Vault B. Historians, economists, and archaeologists alike struggled to quantify the wealth. Ton after ton of gold coins, meticulously stacked and stored in ancient wooden chests, glimmered under the light of inspection lamps. Precious gemstones, long cut and polished by artisans lost to time, sparkled with an intensity that suggested both skill and devotion. Statues, intricately crafted, each a unique testament to religious artistry, were adorned with diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and pearls. Some pieces were ceremonial, used for rituals in centuries past, their significance extending far beyond monetary value. Others were simply treasures, offerings of gratitude, gifts to deities, or dowries deposited with spiritual intent. Imagine standing in a vault where the air is heavy with the scent of sandalwood and incense, the walls lined with chests, overflowing with gold plates and jewel-encrusted figurines, where every step could echo centuries of devotion. Every object, untouched by modern hands, told a story, some recorded in inscriptions, others whispered in the language of artistry and culture. It was a wealth not just of material value, but of history, a bridge connecting the present to eras we can scarcely comprehend. Economists who studied the vaults attempted to place a price tag on the discovery. Estimates ran into billions of dollars, and some even argued that the total worth of the temple's treasures surpassed that of entire nations' reserves. Yet beyond the staggering financial magnitude, there was something more profound, a spiritual and cultural weight that money alone could not measure. These treasures were not mere assets. They were living relics of human devotion, embodiments of belief systems, and physical manifestations of a faith that had endured centuries. Among the most impressive finds were ancient coins dating back hundreds of years, minted in gold and silver, each telling a story of commerce, kingship, and cultural exchange. The coins were sometimes stamped with intricate designs, sometimes bearing the names and emblems of rulers long forgotten by history. And yet their presence in the temple spoke volumes about the socio-political significance of the site. These were not just offerings. They were pledges of loyalty, signs of piety, and silent witnesses to the power dynamics of a bygone era. Equally captivating were the jewelry pieces, delicate yet resplendent, showing a craftsmanship that is virtually impossible to replicate in today's age. Necklaces studded with emeralds, gold bangles etched with patterns of divine symbolism, crowns and ceremonial headpieces adorned with diamonds, sapphires, and rubies, all carefully stored, preserved, and seemingly untouched by time. Each piece bore the mark of devotion, yet also the mark of human skill, reminding us that these treasures were as much about artistry as they were about wealth. The temple also housed an array of religious artifacts, objects that had been central to rituals and ceremonies over centuries. Golden vessels used in offerings, bronze and gold idols of deities, ceremonial swords, and ornate umbrellas, all imbued with spiritual significance. Scholars who examined these items noted that some bore inscriptions in languages long obsolete, detailing rituals, historical events, and even edicts from rulers of Kerala. In these artifacts, history and faith were inseparable, a tangible link to the past that transcended monetary valuation. The revelation of these treasures sent shockwaves not only through India, but around the globe. International media outlets covered the story extensively, highlighting the staggering wealth and the historical importance of the find. Academics debated its implications, economists speculated on its financial impact, and religious scholars considered the spiritual responsibilities tied to such immense wealth. Meanwhile, the general public marveled at the sheer scale of it all, struggling to imagine the glint of gold and jewels that had been hidden for centuries. And yet, amid the awe and fascination, a persistent question arose. If the temple had already revealed such unimaginable wealth, what more could Vault B possibly contain? The treasures discovered so far were enough to make the temple world famous. But Vault B remained closed, a tantalizing enigma. Its contents were unknown, yet the magnitude of the other vaults only amplified the curiosity and speculation. If the first vaults contained billions in wealth, could Vault B contain more? Could it hold something far more significant than gold and gems? Perhaps objects of historical, religious, or even political importance that would reshape our understanding of the past. It is here that the legend of Vault B began to take shape in the public imagination. Each discovery in the other chambers became a clue, a breadcrumb in a trail leading to a door that refused to open. Journalists described it as the ultimate treasure chest. Historians called it an unsolved puzzle, and devotees whispered about divine protection and mystical safeguards. The mystery of what lay behind the sealed door was no longer merely a curiosity. It had become a global fascination, a symbol of the tension between human desire and spiritual restraint. Vaults A, C, D, E, and F were catalogued, photographed, and sometimes transported for inspection. Each artifact carefully recorded, every coin counted, every jewel measured. Despite this meticulous documentation, the very act of uncovering these treasures created new questions. How had such wealth accumulated in one temple over centuries? Who had contributed to it? How had it remained untouched for so long? And most pressing of all, if this much could be found in the accessible vaults, what had been intentionally hidden away in Vault B? As scholars studied the findings, theories began to emerge. Some argued that Vault B might contain artifacts so sacred or so historically significant that opening it could disrupt centuries of religious and cultural equilibrium. Others speculated about even greater treasure, gold hoards that rivaled the known world's reserves. Yet another faction suggested the possibility of ancient manuscripts, sacred texts, or even political documents that, if revealed, could alter our understanding of history in ways we are unprepared to handle. This was the paradox of Padmanabhaswamy Temple. It was simultaneously a vault of material wealth and a repository of spiritual and historical significance. Every discovery highlighted the tension between these two aspects. The treasures fascinated the world, yes, but they also demanded respect. They were not mere objects to be catalogued and displayed. They were symbols of faith, devotion, and centuries of human belief. Even as the world clamored for access, the temple authorities remained steadfast. They permitted the opening of some vaults, but Vault B was different. Their refusal to open it, despite immense public and governmental pressure, only intensified the global intrigue. Treasure hunters speculated, historians theorized, and the media spun stories. But through it all, the temple held firm. Vault B was not just another room. It was a boundary between the known and the unknown, between material curiosity and spiritual sanctity, between human ambition and divine mystery. In this way, the discoveries of 2011 did more than reveal material wealth. They transformed the Padmanabhaswamy Temple into a global symbol of paradox, a place where unimaginable riches exist but remain largely inaccessible, a site where human curiosity collides with religious tradition, and a location that challenges the very idea that everything can be discovered, owned, or explained. By documenting the vaults that could be opened, the world glimpsed only a fraction of the temple's true essence. And the more that fraction dazzled observers, the greater the shadow cast by Vault B. What could possibly remain behind that door that justified centuries of secrecy? Was it wealth beyond imagination, secrets beyond comprehension, or something altogether different? An enigma that the human mind is not ready to confront. One thing became undeniably clear: the treasure discovered in the accessible vaults was immense, transformative, and awe-inspiring. But Vault B had become the true symbol of mystery, the object of collective fascination, and the ultimate test of humanity's understanding of wealth, devotion, and restraint. In examining the treasures already revealed, we begin to see a pattern, not just of material accumulation, but of spiritual intentionality. Everything discovered points to careful curation, to deliberate preservation, and to a conscious choice to leave some things untouched. Vault B, therefore, is more than a physical barrier. It is a deliberate boundary, a line drawn between revelation and secrecy, between curiosity and reverence. And it is this boundary, this deliberate act of concealment, that frames the next chapter of our journey: the forbidden chamber, the mysterious Vault B, the locked door whose contents remain a secret centuries in the making. Among all the chambers of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, none is more enigmatic, more shrouded in mystery, or more fiercely protected than Vault B. While other vaults were catalogued, studied, and even partially displayed, Vault B remained untouched, sealed, and fiercely guarded, its presence known only through whispers, speculation, and the occasional glimpse of its imposing doors. It is not merely a storage space, it is a symbol, a boundary between human ambition and divine decree, a room whose very existence challenges the audacity of curiosity. The location of Vault B within the temple is itself a source of intrigue. Situated deep beneath the main sanctum, its heavy stone and metal doors are unlike any others in the temple. Crafted with precision, engraved with sacred symbols, and reinforced by centuries of ritualistic care, these doors are a testament not just to engineering, but to intention. They are designed to resist intrusion, to withstand time, and to convey a singular message. Some things are not meant to be disturbed. For centuries, the temple's guardians, priests, trustees, and local authorities have maintained a strict code regarding Vault B. Unlike the other chambers, which were opened for rituals or inventory, Vault B has been consistently off-limits. No key has been produced, no seal broken, no ritual publicly performed to gain access. The mere suggestion of opening it has been met with solemn warnings, tales of curses, and occasionally, threats of misfortune. Legends surrounding Vault B are as abundant as they are unsettling. Some claim that it is protected not merely by locks and bolts, but by ancient mystical safeguards, rituals, chants, and blessings intended to prevent any who enter from leaving unharmed. Others suggest that the room carries a curse, a divine warning, or a supernatural consequence for those who attempt to violate its sanctity. According to local law, the consequences of breaking this seal are immediate and severe. Accidents, illness, political upheaval, or calamities beyond human comprehension. The stories are often dismissed by skeptics as superstition. Yet the persistence of these tales and the unwavering enforcement of the room's inaccessibility has lent them a weight that cannot easily be ignored. The secrecy surrounding Vault B has fueled speculation for decades, and even today, scholars, treasure hunters, and journalists debate what could possibly lie inside. Some hypothesize unimaginable wealth, perhaps surpassing even the riches discovered in the other vaults. Others suggest that the room contains rare artifacts of spiritual significance, perhaps objects so sacred that their mere exposure would violate religious law. A third theory posits that ancient manuscripts, scrolls, or documents of political, historical, or religious importance might be concealed there. Writings that could alter the way we understand the region's history, the temple's power, or even broader human events. Yet despite endless theories, the facts remain minimal. The door is sealed. No inventory exists. No photographs, no reports, no evidence. Vault B has become a paradox. It is simultaneously the most famous and least known chamber of the temple. Its very existence is undeniable, yet its contents are completely beyond comprehension. For outsiders, it is a tantalizing void, a gap in knowledge that tempts the imagination, tests the limits of belief, and challenges the assumptions of reality. Authorities and temple officials have repeatedly stated their reasons for keeping Vault B closed. Unlike other chambers, which were opened under strict supervision and documented with care, Vault B is governed by tradition, ritual, and faith. It is believed that the sanctity of the room must never be violated, that its contents are not merely property to be counted, catalogued, or displayed, but objects of divine significance. Any attempt to force entry is seen as a violation not only of law, but of cosmic order. The global fascination with Vault B is fueled by both wealth and mystery. News of the temple's treasures in 2011 ignited curiosity worldwide, and yet the moment Vault B was mentioned, speculation intensified. Treasure hunters fantasized about gold bars and jewel-encrusted idols stacked floor to ceiling. Scholars imagined rare texts, records of ancient knowledge, or manuscripts detailing forgotten rituals. Spiritual leaders cautioned against tampering, claiming that some secrets are entrusted to divine guardians for a reason. The room, thus, exists in a liminal space between reality and myth, a boundary that humanity cannot cross without consequence. Historically, the room has always been considered exceptional. While other chambers accepted donations, offerings, and gifts over centuries, Vault B is believed to have been selectively curated. The wealth, or the sacred objects, inside may have been intentionally isolated, meant only for the eyes of divinity, not for human appraisal. Some historians theorize that kings and temple patrons intentionally left the room untouched, guarding it with rituals and secrecy to ensure that certain objects would never be exploited, stolen, or misused. There is also an element of legal and political complexity. In 2011, when the other chambers were opened, the Supreme Court of India appointed administrators to catalogue and inventory the findings. Vault B, however, was explicitly exempted. The court acknowledged the potential consequences, spiritual, cultural, and societal, of disturbing the room. This legal deference is rare in a world that often prioritizes transparency over tradition, proof over belief. Vault B, in this sense, is protected not only by sacred law, but by secular authority, an acknowledgement that some boundaries cannot be crossed lightly. The mystery of Vault B also highlights the tension between modern curiosity and ancient wisdom. In an era dominated by technology, investigation, and exploration, a sealed room defies all attempts at discovery. No camera can peer inside. No satellite can reveal its secrets. No scientific analysis can determine its contents without physical intrusion. Vault B represents a challenge to human assumptions. The idea that all that is hidden can eventually be found. In this sense, the room is as much a philosophical symbol as it is a physical chamber, a reminder that some mysteries are meant to persist, that some knowledge is deliberately denied, and that some doors, once closed, are intended to remain so. Even today, the global fascination endures. Articles, documentaries, and social media posts speculate endlessly about Vault B. Theories range from the plausible to the fantastical. Treasure rivaling all known wealth, divine relics, forbidden manuscripts, or even evidence of political conspiracies long buried. Yet none of these theories can be proven. The room resists categorization, defies inventory, and challenges every assumption we have about history, wealth, and sanctity. Vault B, therefore, is not just a room. It is a symbol, a nexus of faith, curiosity, wealth, and secrecy. It is a challenge to the human desire to know, to possess, and to uncover. It is the ultimate reminder that in a world where most things are measurable, accountable, and visible, some forces, be they divine, cultural, or historical, insist on remaining unseen. In contemplating Vault B, we confront fundamental questions about value, reverence, and the human impulse to possess. What is worth more, the wealth inside or the faith that keeps it sealed? What is riskier, breaking the seal or respecting it? And most importantly, should humanity seek to know everything, or are there doors better left closed? As we move forward in this journey, Vault B stands as the centerpiece of intrigue. It is the chamber that has captured imaginations, defied explanation, and resisted intrusion for centuries. It is the door that separates the known from the unknown, the tangible from the mystical, the human from the divine. Understanding it, even in part, is the key to understanding the broader mystery of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, and perhaps to understanding the delicate balance between human ambition and reverence, curiosity and sanctity, knowledge and the unknowable. Vault B is more than a chamber. It is a question. It is a challenge. It is a story that refuses to be told, except through the eyes of those who dare to wonder. And as we explore the history, speculation, and tension surrounding this forbidden door, we begin to understand why some secrets remain, intentionally, forever beyond our grasp. Vault B is more than a sealed door. It is the epicenter of one of the most enduring controversies in modern archaeology, religion, and cultural history. As the world marveled at the treasures revealed in other chambers of Padmanabhaswamy Temple, speculation about Vault B intensified. What could possibly justify centuries of secrecy? Theories emerged, debates ignited, and controversy became inseparable from mystery. In the global imagination, Vault B transformed from a locked room into a symbol of the tension between curiosity and reverence, faith and reason, human ambition and the sacred. Among scholars and historians, one of the dominant theories is that Vault B contains treasures of unimaginable value, wealth so vast that its revelation could destabilize not only local economies but international markets. Some suggest that the first vaults, already containing billions of dollars in gold and jewels, may represent only a fraction of what was historically stored. Vault B, in this perspective, could hold treasures beyond comprehension: gold bars, ceremonial objects encrusted with rare gemstones, or artifacts accumulated over centuries by kings, rulers, and devotees seeking to honor the divine. The logic is simple. If the temple has amassed such wealth over centuries, it seems almost inevitable that its most sacred chamber holds the crown jewel of the collection. Yet other theorists focus less on material wealth and more on spiritual or religious significance. In this view, Vault B may house objects of supreme sanctity, relics that are not intended for human eyes. Priests and local devotees often speak of divine guardianship, a protection believed to ensure that only God or the spiritually worthy may approach the sacred items. Such objects could include statues of deities that are considered living embodiments of divine power, sacred manuscripts, ritual implements of immense importance, or even ceremonial vestments used in once-in-a-century rites. The key point here is that the significance of these items may be immeasurable, not in dollars or gold, but in spiritual and cultural value. This belief system feeds directly into the controversy. Religious custodians insist that human curiosity has limits, that violating sacred tradition risks consequences beyond comprehension. For them, the temptation to explore Vault B is dangerous, hubristic, even sacrilegious. Opening the chamber could not only desecrate the objects within, but disrupt centuries of carefully preserved religious order. Meanwhile, scientists, archaeologists, and treasure hunters argue that knowledge itself has value, that studying the contents could unlock profound insights into history, metallurgy, religion, and the socio-economic structures of ancient India. Herein lies the core of the controversy, a clash between the sacred and the secular, between tradition and modernity, between faith and empirical inquiry. There is also a legal dimension to the debate. The Supreme Court of India has recognized the unique status of Vault B. Despite its authority over the other chambers, the court deferred to religious custom and tradition when it came to the sealed vault. Legal scholars and journalists have debated whether this sets a precedent, raising questions about the extent to which religious institutions can dictate access to potentially world-altering discoveries. Critics argue that a chamber containing artifacts or wealth of global significance should not be governed solely by tradition. Supporters counter that law itself must respect deeply embedded cultural and spiritual norms. Vault B, in this context, is not merely a chamber of secrets, it is a test case in the negotiation between governance, cultural heritage, and spiritual authority. The debate has also extended into the realm of mythology and mysticism. Local legends suggest that Vault B is protected by forces beyond human understanding. Stories abound of curses, divine wrath, and inexplicable events befalling those who have even attempted to approach the room. Skeptics dismiss these claims as folklore, yet the consistency of these warnings across centuries and the repeated enforcement of strict boundaries has lent them a measure of credibility in the eyes of observers. Some researchers suggest that these narratives are deliberate, crafted over generations to protect the sanctity of the chamber and discourage interference. Whether these stories are myth or reality, they have become inseparable from the discourse surrounding Vault B. Scientific theorists, meanwhile, consider more pragmatic possibilities. Could the room contain artifacts that require careful handling due to age, fragility, or unknown materials? Could there be manuscripts written on perishable mediums, chemical compositions that react violently with air or light, or even unknown compounds used in ritual practices? Some argue that modern technology, from advanced scanning devices to non-invasive spectroscopy, might allow a glimpse into the chamber without breaking the seal. But the temple's custodians have consistently denied such access. Here, the controversy becomes not only about content, but methodology. What is acceptable scientific practice when sacred tradition is at stake? The media has amplified the debate, framing Vault B as either a literal treasure trove or a metaphysical enigma. International coverage has ranged from awe-inspired reporting of the wealth discovered elsewhere in the temple to sensationalized speculation about curses, hidden knowledge, and secret treasures beyond imagination. Social media platforms, documentaries, and investigative journalism have all contributed to a global narrative in which Vault B exists as a canvas upon which hopes, fears, and fantasies are projected. For the public, the sealed vault is both a physical object and a symbolic one, representing everything we desire to uncover but may never know. Vault B has also sparked intense discussion within academic and religious circles. Scholars debate whether religious law can override the universal drive for knowledge. Anthropologists question whether imposing modern investigative methods on ancient traditions risks cultural imperialism. Historians speculate about the potential impact of revealing sacred texts, artifacts, or politically significant objects. Meanwhile, spiritual leaders caution that some doors are closed for reasons beyond human comprehension. In this way, Vault B is not just an object of curiosity, it is a crucible in which competing worldviews collide. The controversy is compounded by the mystery itself. The lack of access, the secrecy of the custodians, and the sheer scale of the other vaults create a vacuum in which speculation thrives. Every discovery elsewhere in the temple becomes evidence for what might lie behind the closed door. Some argue that it could be the pinnacle of wealth, treasures exceeding anything previously imagined. Others suggest that it is knowledge or sacred objects too powerful or fragile for human interference. And some go further, proposing theories so outlandish they verge on conspiracy, imagining political or historical secrets that could alter national or global narratives. Despite the debate, one fact remains indisputable. Vault B has become a symbol. It represents the tension between knowledge and belief, curiosity and caution, the profane and the sacred. It embodies the human desire to discover the risks of hubris and the limits of authority, both human and divine. Whether it contains treasure, sacred relics, ancient manuscripts, or something entirely beyond imagination, Vault B serves as a mirror to our collective fascination with the unknown, our fear of the consequences of discovery, and our enduring respect for forces we do not fully understand. As we consider the theories and controversies, it becomes clear that Vault B is more than a sealed room. It is a philosophical question. It is a moral challenge. It is a story that continues to evolve with every debate, every theory, and every attempt to understand it. For historians, treasure hunters, devotees, and the curious alike, Vault B is a riddle, a challenge, and a reminder. In a world that prizes knowledge, there still exist boundaries that we may never cross, doors that may never open, and mysteries that may remain forever beyond our grasp. The story of Padmanabhaswamy Temple, and especially Vault B, is not solely a tale of wealth or mystery. It is fundamentally a story about culture, spirituality, and the enduring relationship between humanity and the divine. To understand why Vault B remains sealed and why the treasures of this temple inspire both awe and reverence, one must look beyond the gold, beyond the gemstones, and beyond the architectural marvels. One must understand the cultural and spiritual heartbeat of Kerala, and indeed of India itself. Sri Padmanabhaswamy Temple is not just a physical structure. It is a living symbol of faith, devotion, and continuity. For centuries, it has been a center of worship, a place where generations of devotees have sought guidance, solace, and blessings. The rituals performed within its walls are ancient, preserved meticulously across time, a testament to the human impulse to connect with something larger than oneself. Within this context, Vault B is not merely a chamber, it is a sacred vessel, a repository of both material and spiritual heritage. Its contents are interwoven with the religious, cultural, and historical identity of an entire community. In Hindu belief, temples are far more than buildings. They are embodiments of the divine. The temple is considered a living entity, with the deity residing within. Objects stored within are not seen as possessions, but as sacred offerings, infused with spiritual energy and purpose. Vault B, in this light, is not simply storage. It is a space consecrated to the divine, a chamber that may hold objects of such spiritual potency that their exposure to the profane world could be harmful or sacrilegious. The cultural imperative to respect this boundary is deeply rooted, spanning centuries of faith and tradition. The significance of Vault B extends into ritual practice. Certain ceremonies, prayers, and offerings performed at the temple involve access to these treasures, but always under strict spiritual protocol. Priests trained over decades understand the rites, the chants, the gestures, and the timing necessary to maintain harmony between the sacred and the temporal. Breaking these protocols is not merely disrespectful, it is believed to disrupt the balance between human life and divine order. In this sense, the decision to leave Vault B sealed is not arbitrary. It is an expression of reverence, a deliberate act of spiritual preservation, and a cultural statement about the limits of human authority over sacred matters. Beyond the spiritual framework, there is the cultural lens. Padmanabhaswamy Temple is an emblem of Kerala's history, art, and society. Its architecture reflects centuries of craftsmanship. Its ceremonies embody social cohesion, and its treasures symbolize both devotion and community identity. Vault B, therefore, is not isolated from these cultural dynamics. Its secrecy reinforces the temple's role as a custodian of heritage, a living museum of ritualistic, artistic, and historical knowledge. In this way, the chamber functions as both a spiritual and cultural anchor, a link between the present community and the centuries of devotion that preceded it. The reverence for Vault B also demonstrates the delicate balance between modernization and tradition. India, like much of the world, is in constant negotiation between rapid social change and the preservation of heritage. In opening other vaults, the authorities allowed for transparency, historical research, and even global awareness of the temple's treasures. Yet Vault B remains a boundary, a reminder that not all progress must come at the cost of tradition. It challenges the notion that everything must be documented, analyzed, or monetized. It asserts that some spaces, some knowledge, and some rituals deserve to remain inviolate. This dynamic has broader implications for India's cultural image on the world stage. To outsiders, the temple may appear as a repository of unimaginable wealth, a site of secrecy and intrigue. Yet to those who understand the spiritual and cultural context, the sealed vault is an assertion of values that transcend materialism. It is a testament to a worldview in which faith, ritual, and respect for sacred traditions take precedence over curiosity or financial gain. Vault B is, in many ways, a cultural statement. Wealth alone does not define value. Reverence, continuity, and spiritual integrity are equally, if not more, important. The spiritual dimension also affects how devotees and local communities relate to the temple. The secrecy of Vault B inspires awe, humility, and a sense of sacred mystery. It is a teaching in restraint and respect, reminding the faithful that not all that is known can be controlled, and not all that exists must be possessed. For generations, this lesson has reinforced the community's moral and spiritual framework, shaping how devotees approach their faith, their practices, and their understanding of human limitations. Vault B also plays a role in intergenerational cultural transmission. Stories about the sealed chamber are told and retold, forming a bridge between past and present. These narratives are not merely folklore, they are active instruments of cultural preservation. Children grow up hearing of the mysteries within, understanding that some knowledge is reserved for the divine, that some treasures are too sacred for human handling. In this sense, Vault B is as much a teaching tool as it is a repository of objects. It instructs the faithful on values of patience, respect, and reverence, embedding these principles into the cultural consciousness. The chamber's continued secrecy has implications beyond Kerala, influencing perceptions of India as a whole. On the international stage, Padmanabhaswamy Temple is seen as a site of wealth, history, and mystery. Yet its cultural and spiritual values complicate this narrative. Vault B challenges the assumption that every treasure must be unearthed, every secret must be revealed, and every ritual must be understood. It asserts a perspective in which mystery itself holds value, in which some knowledge is deliberately deferred to preserve harmony between humans and the divine. This duality between material fascination and spiritual restraint defines the temple's global significance. Furthermore, Vault B's presence has prompted reflection on the role of sacred spaces in modern societies. In a world where information is increasingly accessible, where technology allows unprecedented transparency, and where wealth is often measured in purely material terms, the temple asserts a different value system. It reminds us that cultural and spiritual legacies are not commodities to be consumed. They are living traditions, interwoven with the identity, ethics, and conscience of the communities that uphold them. Vault B embodies this ethos, serving as both protector and teacher, an enduring testament to the interdependence of faith, culture, and history. Finally, the chamber highlights the tension between human curiosity and divine mystery. Every generation of devotees, scholars, and global observers has been faced with a simple yet profound question: what lies behind the locked door? And yet the answer remains deliberately withheld. The choice to preserve this mystery underscores a cultural principle. Some knowledge is sacred, some boundaries are inviolable, and some doors are meant to remain closed. In this restraint lies a profound lesson, one that transcends geography, religion, and time. A lesson about humility, respect, and the limits of human dominion over the sacred. Vault B is, therefore, a nexus of cultural, spiritual, and historical significance. Its secrecy preserves not only material wealth, but also intangible heritage, values, beliefs, and lessons that are transmitted across generations. In contemplating Vault B, we are reminded that mystery itself can be a form of wisdom, that restraint can be more valuable than revelation, and that the boundaries established by culture and faith are sometimes more powerful than the most sophisticated tools of discovery. As we reach the final chapter of our journey into the enigmatic world of the Padmanabhaswamy Temple, we are confronted with a profound and enduring truth. Vault B remains closed. After centuries of speculation, study, and global fascination, the chamber that has captured imaginations across continents stands as it always has, sealed, silent, and unyielding. This is not simply a story of treasure, nor merely a tale of history. It is a story of mystery, restraint, and the delicate intersection of human curiosity and divine intent. The chamber's inaccessibility raises fundamental questions about the nature of knowledge, the limits of human understanding, and the boundaries we are willing or unwilling to cross. In an age when almost everything can be discovered, catalogued, and analyzed, Vault B serves as a stark reminder that some doors are meant to remain closed. Its secrecy is a challenge, a provocation, and a lesson. What lies inside is not known to the world, yet the very act of its concealment imbues it with significance beyond material value. For some, Vault B is a repository of unimaginable wealth. For others, it is a sacred reliquary. For many, it is simply an eternal question, a riddle that transcends time and space. The global fascination with Vault B is both natural and inevitable. When treasures worth billions have already been discovered in other chambers, when historians and economists have weighed, counted, and analyzed what has been revealed, the imagination naturally turns toward what remains hidden. What more could there be? Gold, jewels, manuscripts, sacred relics, or perhaps something beyond even human comprehension? A secret that the generations before us decided was too powerful, too sacred, or too dangerous to expose. Theories abound, ranging from the plausible to the fantastical. But the truth, as always, lies behind that impenetrable door. Yet Vault B is more than its contents. It is a symbol of human restraint in the face of temptation. It embodies the tension between curiosity and reverence, ambition and humility, knowledge and faith. In an era dominated by exploration, investigation, and the pursuit of transparency, the room challenges our assumptions. It asks us to consider, is it always necessary to uncover every secret, to lay bare every mystery, to claim possession over what we do not understand? Or is there value in leaving certain doors unopened, in honoring boundaries that stretch beyond the tangible into the realms of the sacred, the spiritual, and the culturally significant. The chamber's secrecy also speaks to the interplay between past and present. The guardians of the temple, following rituals and traditions handed down across generations, have made a deliberate choice to preserve the unknown. Their decision is not born of fear alone, but of respect. Respect for the divine, respect for cultural continuity, and respect for the lessons embedded in history. Vault B, therefore, is not merely a physical space. It is a bridge across centuries, a continuity of faith, and a testament to the enduring power of human devotion. By leaving it untouched, the custodians honor both the past and the principle that some knowledge must remain veiled. In contemplating Vault B, we confront fundamental philosophical questions. What is the value of knowledge if its pursuit comes at the expense of sacred law? What is the worth of discovery if it threatens the balance between human action and divine order? Vault B, by remaining closed, forces us to wrestle with these questions, to confront the limits of human control, and to recognize that some mysteries serve a purpose greater than our desire to uncover them. The chamber also casts a long shadow over the broader narrative of Padmanabhaswamy Temple. The treasures discovered in other vaults, while dazzling and historically invaluable, are only part of the story. Vault B represents the unknown, the inaccessible, and the ultimate expression of the temple's dual nature, a site of both material wealth and profound spiritual depth. The unopened door elevates the temple from a mere repository of riches to a living parable of faith, cultural preservation, and the ethical considerations that accompany human curiosity. For the devotees, Vault B is a focus of reverence and devotion. Its inaccessibility reinforces the sacredness of the temple, teaching that faith is not merely about seeing or possessing, but about trust, patience, and respect. For historians and archaeologists, it is a source of tantalizing speculation, a mystery that invites rigorous inquiry tempered by acknowledgement of its sacred context. For the global audience, it is a narrative that blends awe, suspense, and ethical reflection, an enduring testament to humanity's fascination with the unknown. The implications of Vault B extend beyond India, beyond Kerala, and beyond any single religious tradition. In a world obsessed with discovery and transparency, the room challenges assumptions about ownership, access, and human dominion over knowledge. It reminds us that wealth is not always a right to possess, that history is not always a right to expose, and that some mysteries, however tempting, serve purposes that transcend human understanding. Vault B teaches a lesson that resonates universally. Some doors are closed for reasons that matter beyond comprehension, and respecting them is itself a form of wisdom. Even as we conclude this journey, the story of Vault B is not finished. Every generation will continue to speculate, to theorize, and to wonder about what lies behind its sealed doors. Every scholar will debate, every devotee will pray, and every curious observer will imagine the treasures, the relics, or the knowledge that remain hidden. And yet, for all this speculation, one undeniable fact persists. The room remains untouched, intact, and immovable. Its silence speaks louder than any words, its inaccessibility asserts authority, and its mystery captivates the imagination.